Two Guys, One Movie, Frozen Burrito Edition.
In 3D.
You see there for a second, we actually didn't have to say on ice this week.
Yes.
Well, everybody, welcome back. This is Two Guys, One Movie. This is Steve Arviso and
Charles Musick.
As always. And today we are bringing you the movie about Vivica A. Fox, a pointy knife, and a lot of really young Jessica Alba.
Jessica Alba?
Yes.
That's all I heard.
That's
I
all
didn't
you
hear
have to,
anything else.
That's all you have to hear, folks. We are talking about the Seth Green vehicle known as Idle Hands.
Yes. And Fulton. Don't forget Fulton.
Yes, and Fulton from the Mighty Ducks.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's... There wasn't
and this one guy from a couple other
There
movies.
wasn't really, like, a huge cast, at least for...
For 1999, this is a very big cast. Of young up-and-comers. Up-and-comers, yeah.
But, I mean, it basically really focuses on, you know, Anton, his two friends, and occasionally Vivica A. Fox running around crazy trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
And Jessica Alba in very skimpy outfits. But tastefully skimpy because it is 99 and not now.
I don't think anybody's, objecting to that.
No one's ever going to object to that. No.
Yes. But overall, I liked the movie a lot. When it first came out, I was a big fan of it. I mean, it's not your typical horror film. It's comedy horror, of course.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have scary elements, but it does have that, kind of like the jump back element sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, this was comedy horror before comedy horror really kind of found its niche. I mean, we discussed Leprechaun a couple days back. We've done Ernest Scared Stupid. There's tons of movies like this. Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead, I think, really found that balance between. I think this really falls into that same category, Shaun of the Dead, where it's a comedy that happens to have horror elements in it.
This also, I guess, you could qualify as one of those, a teen movie, too.
Yeah. This is what, is it rated R, or? It's rated R, actually, which is surprising, given the cast and the fact that this is really
You got pot smoking throughout it, you got sexual situations, and of course, every time someone gets murdered, like the mom, gets dragged in the bed, blood just squirts out.
Yeah.
Or like her friend, is being blood just squirts down.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. It seems like Shaun of the Dead, my point being that Shaun of the Dead was a send-up of the horror films. It's a celebration of those kind of films, and this is kind of a mix between a slasher flick, a body count type film, and a bit demonic possession type movie. And then it's just a raging stoner comedy through and through.
Yeah, there's always that too. It's like a nice mesh of everything. I mean, because granted, stoner, horror films started adding the stoner effect. They've always had like the drug users or the teens that are going off and fooling around.
At the very least, they've had the heavy drug use since the original Friday the 13th.
But I mean, I remember like Freddy vs. Jason. They really played up the stoner.
Oh yeah,
they
like
that.
Parodied the shit out of it.
They've started doing it a lot more now, and Idle Hands is definitely one of them too.
Yeah, I mean, it's revolving around.
It's a nice comedy mix, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Evil Bong pulled it off really well.
Not on this list, by the way.
No.
No, but
it's disappointed like 3 people.
Yeah, as Charles said, the movie itself revolves around Anton, played by some schmuck that you might remember as the lead from Final Destination.
Devin Sawa. Most people would remember him as Junior, the star quarterback for the Little Giants.
I don't think anyone's going to remember that.
I think a lot of people are going to remember that. You're going to get tweets. Come on, people, tweet Steven that we remember the Little Giants.
No, they'll remember Little Giants. I don't think they're going to remember, what's-his-face as the,
It's Icebox's love interest. We're getting off topic.
Yeah,
Stop distracting me with Ed O'Neill.
Rick Moranis.
Yes. But, I mean, Idle Hands, it's got a nice mixture of everything. It doesn't go over the line with the gore or the horror, elements, and it doesn't go over the line of being too stupid or comedy. I mean,
that's true.
You know what you're getting if you watch the trailer, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty upfront with what it is. Seth Green is actually pretty funny in it. That's not saying a lot, given the fact that he's done a lot better work in the last 10 years than he has in this movie.
Seth Green and Eldon Henson, together though, his two stoner friends, they're like part of the, some of the best parts of the movie.
And, man, we haven't even discussed what this movie is actually about. We're going on all this.
I'm sure everybody knows what it's about.
It's about Idle Hands.
Yes.
Yes. Well, just quick little recap for those of you who are still listening. It's about a kid named Anton, total stoner, total loser. He's apparently still in high school, I guess. It's not very clear. The movie's very vague on ages and whatnot. There's a lot of people who know each other and within a few years of one another. But he's a stoner, his buddies are stoners, and apparently...
He has to be in high school. He goes to the high school dance. I think that's like
the guy that's like 3-4 years older than him, his neighbor, is going to the dance too.
He's not going. He's going with Vivica Fox to try and slay the demon.
He was supposed to go to the dance, though. They make note of that in a bowling scene. Which, in that bowling scene, is... Charles and I did discover this. It is the same bowling alley that they shot The Big Lebowski in.
It's an interesting fact.
And they also shot this in the same neighborhood as they shot Halloween. The original Halloween,
This movie, which is about...
Idle Hands. This movie being about a stoner who literally has a possessed hand. And then goes on a murderous rampage. And that's really the whole film.
Obviously, in a little spoiler here, in the opening, his parents are being murdered. It has to be it's him that did it, right?
Yeah.
So, he was so knocked out or stoned that he had no idea that it was happening?
I guess so.
Or did the killer go into his house, kill his parents, and then, his hand got possessed? Because they wrote ant in the blood,
Yeah. And to be fair, they did also mention that there were several other killings. There had been a serial killer going through the town, and apparently nobody's really all that freaked out, and apparently there's a curfew going on.
So it makes you wonder if it was like, just another guy that killed his parents and then...
I would assume it's the hand.
But yeah. He must have picked it up from somewhere.
Well, it had to be him that killed the parents because obviously it was set up in his house that way. There's body parts littered out throughout there that reflect back on the other killings that happened prior to the start of the film.
Like you see the ears, from like the fast food restaurant. So that means Anton's been killing all this time?
Yeah. This is in the days before security was a big thing.
That's some good weed he's smoking.
Well, he's at least smoking a lot of it because it's constant references.
But it can't be that good if he's still able to get out of bed and function and still kill people. I mean, Jesus.
Well, he's not the one killing. It's the hand, the demon-possessed hand.
Yes.
Which doesn't have a lot. There really is not a lot of explanation in this film. It's just you just kind of have to accept it. It's a bit of a roller coaster. It just takes off right away. It just takes off and goes from the start. It's a fun movie. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's got Seth Green. It's got Jessica Alba in skimpy clothing and in her underwear at least once or twice in the whole film. So it's young Jessica Alba.
And it's got Offspring.
And it's got the Offspring.
They could have changed their name to Offscreen just for this movie.
Oh.
It would have worked well, I think.
It really would. Though they don't mention the band by name in the movie.
No, but if you're an Offspring fan, you know exactly who they are the second you see them.
Which is funny, too, because it's the Offspring, but they're playing a cover of the Ramones.
Yeah? But...
I just find that interesting. It's like you hire the Offspring, but then you hire them to play and perform the Ramones.
You didn't want to pay them twice for their song and their, appearance. You just paid them for their appearance.
Yeah, but then you paid for the Ramones.
Yeah, but I'm sure that, it was cheap. Maybe they got a better deal. The Ramones have so many songs. Although they were singing one of their most popular songs.
Yes. I want to be sedated. No, but this is a very interesting... I remember watching this on VHS when it came out. Obviously I didn't get to see it in theaters.
I didn't either.
But I do remember on VHS. Charles, actually, you said you have the VHS? I
still have the VHS, yes.
And you said that this isn't even your DVD copy that we rewatched.
No, actually, it's my mom's copy because she really likes this movie. She likes the two stoner kids, Seth and Fulton, as I always call him, Eldon.
God, what's his name again?
Eldon Henson.
Yes, the former Mighty Ducks and the future Foggy Nelson for Daredevil.
But I mean, as we called, this the burrito edition, there's that scene where, they're going...
There's much love given to a certain brand of frozen burritos.
They're going to get a first aid kit across the street for Anton, and it's like, oh, burritos! And they grab 2 frozen burritos, and they walk up to the microwave, and it's just completely just filthy. And it's like, ugh, do you think we should clean it first? And Seth Green's response is priceless. He just says, well, why don't we clean the whole fucking house while we're at it, too? It's like he just throws the burrito in this blood-filled microwave. It's gross, but still funny.
Yeah.
That's the type of humor you're gonna get, it's just...
Seth Green is kind of actually on a roll throughout this whole film. It's just Seth Green throughout the whole film. It's like he's not even acting. He's just reading his lines as Seth Green.
They both, they work well together, and it helps because Anton is freaking out and killing people, and so he's kind of got your serious element where he's crazy and doesn't know what's happening, and then you got his two friends that are just like, well, fuck it, going along with everything, and they're just having a good time.
Yeah, true. But we do have to mention that we do have to make one little exception to the rule of this being a really fun and entertaining movie. I think Charles and I both agree that the lead isn't exactly the most suited to the position. I don't know if it's his acting chops or his comedic talent. I don't think he really has the comedic chops for. He pales in comparison to Seth Green and Fulton, because I can't remember his name either.
I also think partially because it's a very physical. Role that he's playing with his hand freaking, controlling him and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of physical comedy, so I know those type of actors, and he didn't have it. He just wasn't on the ball.
Yeah. You're gonna watch this and you'll be like, this is funny, and then whenever, Devon Sawa, however you pronounce his name, whenever Anton is on screen, the comedy seems to not come to a complete halt, but it seems to not really match the tone of the other bits of comedy when it should have.
But maybe that's why his friends' comedy, lines and bits are turned up so loud, and turned up so high.
Yeah, trying to compensate for it.
Of course, Jessica Alba just makes everything perfect.
Yeah, well.
Nice roundabout.
Again, his questionable comedy talent aside for the lead. The rest of the film, great supporting cast, beautiful supporting cast. And even Vivica A. Fox gets quite a bit of laughs in this. She gets a couple chucks. Yeah.
I see that IMDb gave it a 6.2 out of 10. What would you give it out of 10?
Out of 10, I would easily give it an 8.
Okay.
For a horror comedy, specifically for what it is, it's a solid A. It's a solid B. It's above average. It's entertaining. It hits all the notes. It has has the perfect stand-ups for the horror genre that it's in. It's subgenre that's a part of. It's got strong comedic talent in it. It's got some good strong laughs. It's got some great scenes in it. It's not perfect by any means. It's definitely not an A. Not by far. But it's better than the average comedy horror.
Yeah. If you asked me back when it first came out and I first started watching it, I probably would have given it about an 8, maybe a 9. But now that I've seen, the scary movies and so many type of horror comedies and stuff,
yeah,
I'd say this holds up still pretty well, but I'd give it a 6.5. Yeah. Basically what IMDb gives it. For 7, maybe.
For a 15-year-old movie, it really holds up pretty well. There's not a lot of, you go back and you watch a movie from the 90s, early 2000s, it really starts to feel a lot dated. I mean, we did the House on Haunted Hill. We did do that. We did cover that, and that's from the same time period. It's about 2 years after this movie came out, and you could tell that everything looks like it's from the early 2000s. It has that feel to it, the way they dress and whatnot. This feels like it could take place today because they don't show a lot of stuff. Besides Jessica Alba's hair. That's about the one thing that really dates this movie is her hairstyle.
I mean, it's not dated in that sense, but I'm just saying with so many
by comparison, yeah,
horror comedies that I've seen now and going back, it's, it might not be in my top 3, but it would definitely be in my top 10.
Yeah, it holds up for what it is. It has a lot of strong competition. Obviously, the comedy horror genre has really stepped up its game in the last decade. But for a thing, an insular thing that's really of its time, it really stands out. This is 3-4 years after Scream came out, and that was a horror movie that had comedy in it. This is the flip of that. So I think it holds up pretty well for what it is. A little bit more than Charles probably suspects, but I think we can both agree that anyone watching this movie will enjoy it for what it is. There's no way you can watch this and not have fun.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
And if you're young, if you're young, or if you have someone young watching this with you, they can watch it. Despite the fact that it's R-rated, there are a couple scenes and illicit substance use that might not be suitable for it. But if you're fine with a little bit of titties and weed, you might be able to get away with it.
Yeah,
and the kids might find it a little bit scary, a little bit, but at least funny.
Just if you smoke a little before you watch the movie, you might enjoy it a lot more.
That might up your score.
Yes.
Would you say?
It would probably up the score. Yes, definitely.
All right, I think that's going to do it today for Two Guys One Movie, the Frozen Burrito edition for Idle Hands. This is Steve Arviso
and Charles Musick, and remember, kids, idle hands are the devil's playground.